Commander Jake Morrison walked through the massive doors of the Galactic Council chamber on Nexus Prime. The chamber was enormous, bigger than any building he had ever seen on Earth. 47 different alien species sat in a circle around, the center where Jake would soon stand. Each species looked different from the others. Some had multiple eyes, others had no eyes at all. Some were tall and thin, others were short and wide. The only thing they all shared was their cold stare as Jake entered the room. Ambassador Lisa Carter walked beside Jake. She carried a briefcase full of documents that showed all the good things humanity had done. Trade agreements, peace treaties, scientific discoveries that helped other species. Lisa had worked for months to prepare for this moment. She believed that today humanity would finally be accepted into the galactic community. Behind them walked Ryan Brooks, the intelligence officer who had been studying alien technology for years. Ryan had learned to understand many alien languages and customs. He knew more about the Council than most humans. Something about today felt wrong to him, but he kept his concerns to himself. The three humans reached the center of the chamber. Jake looked up at the speaker's platform where Council Speaker Zix-9 sat. Zix-9 was a being made of what looked like living crystal. Light moved through his body in patterns that changed with his emotions. Right now, the light was cold blue, which Ryan knew meant judgment was coming. Humans of the species known as Homo sapiens, Zix-9 began, his voice echoing through the chamber without using sound waves. You have requested integration into the Galactic Council. We have studied your species for 50 Earth years. We have watched your expansion from your home world. We have seen your wars, your conquests, your treatment of other species on your own planet. Lisa stepped forward. Honored Speaker, we come before you with respect and hope. Humanity has grown much since our early days. We have learned to work together. We have stopped most wars on our planet. We have protected endangered species. We want to learn from the wisdom of the Council. Zix-9's crystal body flashed with red light for a moment. You speak of learning, but your actions show different intentions. In the past 10 years, you have established military bases on 17 worlds. You have extracted resources from 12 asteroid fields without permission. You have built warships that can destroy entire cities. Jake felt his jaw tighten. Those bases were built for defense. We need to protect our colonies from pirates and hostile forces. The resources we took were from uninhabited systems. Our ships are designed to keep peace, not to make war. Peace, repeated Veltoron, a representative from the Ethereal Collective. His voice sounded like wind through metal. You say peace, but your species has been at war for most of your recorded history. Even now, crime exists on your worlds. Violence is still part of your nature. Every species has had conflicts, Lisa said, trying to keep her voice calm. The Council members themselves have histories of war. The difference is that we are working to be better. We have reduced conflicts by 90% in the last century. A being that looked like a giant insect clicked its mandibles. Working to be better is not the same as being better. The hive mind has observed your expansion patterns. They match the patterns of species that become threats to galactic stability. Jake looked around the chamber. He could see that the decision had already been made. This was not a hearing. It was a sentencing. What exactly are you saying? He asked. Zix-9 stood up, his crystal body now glowing with harsh white light. The Galactic Council has reached a unanimous decision. Humanity is too aggressive, too unpredictable, and too dangerous to join galactic civilization. Your species shows patterns that historically lead to conquest and domination. We cannot allow this risk. Risk? Jake's voice rose. We have followed every rule you gave us. We have shared our technology. We have helped other species with medical research. We have prevented 3 wars between other Council members. Your help always comes with conditions, said another alien representative. You want trade agreements that favor your species. You want access to our technology. You want military alliances. This is not true cooperation. Lisa opened her briefcase and pulled out documents. These papers show our good faith efforts. We have treaties with 16 non-council species. We have provided disaster relief to 7 worlds. We have enough, Zix9 interrupted. The decision is made. Humanity will be quarantined to your birth system. You have 1 standard year to abandon all colonies beyond the Sol system. After that time, an energy barrier will be placed around your system. Any attempt to leave will result in immediate extermination. The chamber fell silent. Jake felt like the air had been sucked out of his lungs. You're imprisoning us in our own system? We are protecting the galaxy from a potential threat, Zix9 replied. This is not punishment. It is prevention. Your species will be free to develop within your own system. You will have your home world and the other planets you have colonized there. You will not be harmed as long as you remain within the barrier. What about our colonies? Jake asked. We have millions of people living on worlds outside the Sol system. Some of them were born there. Those worlds are their homes. They will be relocated, the insect-like being clicked. Transport ships will be provided. No human will be harmed during the relocation process. Lisa stepped forward again. Please, there must be another way. We can accept limitations on our expansion. We can allow council observers on our worlds. We can provide guarantees of peaceful behavior. Your species cannot be trusted to keep such promises, Velturan said. History shows that aggressive species always find ways to break their agreements when it serves their interests. Ryan Brooks had been listening carefully to the conversation. He noticed that some of the aliens were avoiding eye contact with the humans. Others seemed uncomfortable with the decision. He began to suspect that the vote might not have been as unanimous as Zix9 claimed. How long do we have? Jake asked. 1 standard year, Zix9 repeated. After that, the barrier will be activated. Any human ship or signal that attempts to cross it will trigger automatic defense systems. We suggest you use this time to prepare your people for their new reality. Jake looked at Lisa and Ryan. He could see the defeat in Lisa's eyes, but he also saw something else. Determination. Lisa had not given up, and neither had he. We understand your decision, Jake said formally. We will need time to plan the evacuation of our colonies. Time will be provided, Zix9 said. Council ships will assist with the relocation if needed. We take no pleasure in this decision, but it is necessary for galactic peace. The 3 humans turned and walked out of the chamber. Jake could feel the eyes of 47 alien species watching them leave. Some looked satisfied, others looked worried. A few looked almost sad. Once they were back on their ship, the UESA's Defiance, Jake closed the door to the briefing room. Well, that could have gone better, he said. Lisa sat down heavily in her chair. They never intended to let us join. This was all for show. Ryan was already working at his computer terminal. I recorded everything. I also picked up some interesting signals during the session. Several species were communicating privately during the hearing. Not all of them agreed with the decision. What kind of signals? Jake asked. Encrypted messages between the Keth Union and the Synthetic Collective. They seemed to be discussing the decision before it was announced. I think there was disagreement about what to do with us. Jake sat down and looked at his 2 companions. So what do we do now? We go back to Earth, Lisa said. We tell the president what happened. We prepare for the evacuation. Or, Ryan said quietly, we prepare for something else. Jake and Lisa looked at him. What do you mean? Ryan pulled up a holographic display showing the council chamber. I've been studying their technology for years. I know how their barrier systems work. I know their weaknesses. And I know that not all of the council members support this decision. You're talking about resistance, Lisa said. I'm talking about survival, Ryan replied. They're not quarantining us to protect the galaxy. They're quarantining us because they're afraid of us. They know what we're capable of, and they want to stop us before we become too powerful. Jake stood up and walked to the window. Outside, he could see the lights of Nexus Prime. Soon, humans would never be allowed to visit this world again, unless they found another way. Set course for Earth, he said. We have a report to make. As the U's Defiance left Nexus Prime, Jake Morrison made a decision that would change the fate of humanity and the galaxy forever. The Council had offered them a cage. Jake intended to offer them war. 6 months had passed since the Council's decision. President Amanda Walsh stood in the emergency session room of the United Earth Federation. Around the table sat the most powerful leaders in human space. Military commanders, scientists, politicians, and intelligence officers all waited for her words. The evacuation is proceeding slower than expected, Amanda began. We have moved 3 million people from our outer colonies, but 12 million remain. The Council has made it clear that the deadline will not be extended. General Alex Turner, head of Earth's military forces, leaned forward. Madam President, we cannot evacuate everyone in the remaining 6 months. The logistics are impossible. We would need twice as many transport ships as we currently have. Then we need to make a choice, Amanda said. We can abandon our people, or we can fight. The room fell silent. Everyone knew what fighting meant. It meant war with the most powerful alliance in the galaxy. It meant facing technology that was thousands of years more advanced than anything humans possessed. Dr. Kevin Stone, head of the Prometheus Research Division, cleared his throat. Madam President, there might be a third option. Amanda nodded. For him to continue. For the past 20 years, my team has been studying alien technology. Every time we encountered a crashed ship, every time we found abandoned equipment, every time we captured enemy weapons, we analyzed them. We have learned how their systems work. Ryan Brooks, who had returned from the Council hearing, added to Kevin's words. The Council believes they know everything about our capabilities. They think we are still using primitive human technology. They are wrong. Kevin activated a holographic display that showed the design of a new type of ship. This is the Shadow-class destroyer. It combines human engineering with alien technology. The hull is made from materials we learned to create by studying ethereal collective armor. The engines use power systems based on Keth Union designs. The weapons are our own creation, but they use energy-focusing techniques we copied from Council. Ships. Admiral Claire Roberts studied the display. How many of these ships do we have? Currently, we have completed 57 Shadow-class ships, Kevin replied. They are hidden in asteroid fields throughout the outer system. The Council's sensors cannot detect them because they use the same stealth technology the Council uses. 57. Ships against the entire Galactic Council? General Turner asked. That's suicide. Not if we use them correctly, Captain Tony Mitchell said. Tony had been leading the secret construction project for the past 2 years. These ships are not meant to fight the Council fleet directly. They are designed to break the barrier and create confusion while our main forces escape. Amanda looked around the table. What about allies? Are there any Council species that might help us? Ryan pulled up intelligence reports on his tablet. The Keth Union has been asking questions about our quarantine. They are a warrior species that respects strength. They might see our resistance as honorable. The synthetic collective has been denied full Council membership for centuries. They might be willing to help us if we promise to recognize their rights. And the others? Amanda asked. Most will stay neutral, Ryan replied. They fear the Council too much to openly help us. But they also fear what happens if we win. Some of them remember that humans keep their promises to allies. Dr. Helen Murphy, a xenobiologist, spoke up. I have been studying the barrier technology. The Council sent us technical specifications as part of the quarantine process. They wanted us to understand that escape was impossible. And, Amanda prompted, they were trying to scare us, but they gave us valuable information. The barrier works by creating a stable energy field around our entire solar system. But like all energy fields, it has weak points. If we can hit these points with enough force at the same time, the entire barrier will collapse. Kevin nodded. That's where the Omega Array comes in. We have been building energy generation stations on asteroids, moons, and hidden bases throughout the system. When activated simultaneously, they can produce enough power to destabilize the barrier. How long do we have to prepare? Amanda asked. The Council will activate the barrier in exactly 6 months, Admiral Roberts said. Our intelligence suggests they will begin positioning their ships around our system 2 weeks before activation. Then we need to be ready in 5 months, Amanda decided. Kevin, can your people finish the preparations by then? We will need to work around the clock, but yes. The biggest challenge is coordination. We need to make sure all our forces are in position without alerting Council observers. Tony Mitchell stood up. I can handle the fleet movements. We have been practicing stealth maneuvers for months. Our pilots know how to avoid detection. What about the evacuation? General Turner asked, if we are preparing for war, should we still try to move our people? Amanda thought for a moment. We continue the evacuation as planned. The Council expects us to comply with their demands. We cannot let them know we are preparing to fight. But we evacuate our people to staging areas where they can be quickly moved to safety if fighting begins. Ryan looked at his intelligence reports. There is something else. The Council has been moving ships into position around neutral systems. They are preparing for the possibility that we might try to escape. How many ships? Admiral Roberts asked. At least 300, possibly more. They are taking this seriously. Kevin smiled grimly. Good. That means they are afraid of us. Fear makes people make mistakes. Amanda stood up. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to undertake the most dangerous mission in human history. We are going to defy the most powerful alliance in the galaxy. Some of us will not survive what comes next. She looked around the table at each person. But if we succeed, we will have won something more valuable than safety. We will have won the right to determine our own future. We will have shown the galaxy that humanity cannot be caged. General Turner nodded. What are your orders, Madam President? Activate Operation Nightfall. Jake Morrison will lead a team to establish contact with potential allies. Ryan Brooks will coordinate intelligence gathering. Kevin Stone will oversee the completion of our secret weapons. Claire Roberts will prepare our fleet for combat. Tony Mitchell will command the shadow ships. And if we fail? Dr. Murphy asked. Amanda's expression hardened. Then we fail fighting. The Council offered us a cage and called it mercy. I would rather die free than live as prisoners. The meeting ended with everyone understanding their roles. As the leaders left the room, Amanda remained behind with Ryan. Do you really think we can win? She asked. Ryan looked at the star charts on the wall. The Council is powerful, but they are also overconfident. They have been the dominant force in the galaxy for so long that they have forgotten what it means to fight for survival. We have not. And if our allies abandon us, then we fight alone. Humans have been fighting alone for most of our history. We are good at it, Amanda nodded. Begin the preparations. Send word to all our hidden bases. Tell our people that in 6 months We will either be free or dead. Either way, we will not be prisoners. As Ryan left to carry out his orders, Amanda looked out the window at Earth. Soon, this world would either be the capital of a free human civilization or the tomb of a species that refused to surrender. She intended to make sure it was the former. The preparation phase had begun. Across human space, secret bases activated. Hidden ships emerged from asteroid fields. Scientists worked frantically to complete their weapons. Soldiers trained for the most important battle in human history. The Council believed they had solved the human problem. They were about to discover that problems have a way of solving themselves. The day had arrived. Captain Tony Mitchell sat in the command chair of the UES Phantom, one of the 57 Shadow-class ships hidden throughout the solar system. Around him, his crew prepared for the most dangerous mission in human history. The Council's deadline had passed 2 days ago, and the energy barrier was now fully active around the Sol system. "Status report," Tony said into his communicator. "All Shadow ships are in position," came the reply from Commander Jake Morrison, now leading the overall operation from the UES Retribution. "The Omega Array is charged and ready. We are go for Operation Breakout." Tony looked at the main screen. The energy barrier was invisible to the naked eye, but their sensors showed it clearly. A perfect sphere of energy that surrounded their entire solar system. No signal could get through it. No ship could pass it. It was designed to be humanity's prison for eternity. "Omega Array, this is Phantom Leader." Tony spoke into his communicator. "Are you ready?" Dr. Kevin Stone's voice came back from the hidden command center on Ceres. "All energy stations are synchronized. We can begin the destabilization sequence on your command." "Admiral Roberts, what is the status of the main fleet?" Tony asked. Admiral Claire Roberts responded from the battleship UE Science. "All ships are ready. The moment the barrier shows weakness, we will move to support your breakthrough." Tony took a deep breath. Everything they had worked for came down to the next few minutes. "All stations, this is Phantom Leader. Operation Breakout is now active. Kevin, begin the sequence." On Ceres, Kevin activated the Omega Array. Hidden energy stations throughout the solar system began to pulse with power. The barrier began to vibrate as harmonic frequencies struck its weak points. Warning lights flashed on Council monitoring stations as their sensors detected the energy buildup. "Barrier showing stress fractures," reported the science officer on the Phantom. "The Council is responding. I'm detecting ships moving toward our position." Tony smiled grimly. The Council had kept a small fleet near the barrier to watch for escape attempts. They were about to get more than they bargained for. "Shadow Fleet, this is Phantom Leader. Engage stealth systems and prepare for combat." The 57 Shadow ships vanished from all sensors. Their alien-derived stealth technology made them invisible to Council detection systems. The Council ships were looking for them, but they could not find them. "First fracture detected," Kevin reported. "The barrier is beginning to fail in Sector 7. Phantom Squadron, move to Sector 7, Tony ordered. "We go through the moment the gap opens." The Council fleet moved to intercept, but they were shooting at shadows. The Shadow ships could see them, but they could not see the Shadow ships. Human weapons, powered by alien technology, began to strike Council vessels. "Direct hit on the lead Council ship," reported Captain Lisa Carter from the UES Wraith. "Their shields are down." The first gap in the barrier opened. It was small, only large enough for one ship at a time, but it was enough. Tony pushed his ship through the opening, followed by 5 other Shadow ships. They were the first humans to leave the Sol system since the quarantine began. "We are through the barrier," Tony reported. "Beginning Phase 2. The Council ships outside the barrier were caught completely off guard. They had been watching the barrier, not looking for ships that had already escaped. The shadow ships struck them from behind, destroying 3 vessels before the council even realized what was happening. "More fractures opening," Kevin reported. "The barrier is collapsing faster than expected." Jake Morrison led the second wave of ships through the widening gaps. The council's response was swift but confused. They had not expected such organized resistance from a species they believed was trapped and helpless. "Council reinforcements incoming," reported Ryan Brooks from the intelligence ship UES Nightfall. 3 squadrons approaching from the direction of Proxima Centauri. "Admiral Roberts, move the main fleet to intercept," Jake ordered. "We need to keep them away from the barrier while more ships escape." The battle spread across the outer solar system. Human ships, using hybrid technology that combined the best of both human and alien engineering, proved superior to the Council's outdated designs. The Council had grown complacent during their centuries of dominance. They had forgotten how to fight a real war. "Barrier collapse is accelerating," Kevin reported. "Complete failure in 30 minutes. All ships prepare for full breakthrough," Jake announced. "The moment that barrier falls, we move to secure the Kepler Station." Kepler Station was the Council's primary control center for the quarantine. It coordinated the barrier and commanded the Council forces in the area. If humans could capture it, they would deal a devastating blow to Council authority. The barrier flickered and died. For the first time in 6 months, the Sol system was open to the galaxy. Human ships poured through the gap like water through a broken dam. The Council forces were overwhelmed by the sudden flood of vessels. "Kepler Station is launching fighters," reported Captain Sarah Williams from the UES Thunder. "They know we are coming." Jake Morrison's ship, the UES Retribution, led the assault on the station. The Council had designed it to be impregnable, but they had not expected an attack from ships they could barely detect. "Phantom Squadron, target the station's main weapons," Jake ordered. "Thunder Squadron, take out their communications array. Wraith Squadron, disable their engines." The shadow ships struck the station from multiple directions. Council defenders tried to respond, but they were fighting an enemy they could not see clearly. Human weapons, enhanced with alien technology, cut through the station's defenses like they were made of paper. "Station defenses are down," reported Tony Mitchell, moving to board. Jake Morrison led the boarding party personally. He had stood in the Council chambers 6 months ago and been told that humanity would never be free. Now he was going to show them what freedom looked like. The fighting inside the station was fierce. Council security forces had better weapons and armor, but human soldiers had something more important: desperation. They were fighting for their species' survival, while the Council forces were just following orders. "Control room secured," Jake reported. "We have access to their command systems." Ryan Brooks worked frantically at the alien computers, undownloading their strategic databases. "This information will show us the location of every Council base within 50 light years." "What about their communication systems?" Admiral Roberts asked. "Still functional," Ryan replied. "We can send the message to the entire Council fleet." Jake smiled. "Patch me through to all Council frequencies." Ryan worked at the controls. "You are connected to the entire Council communication network." Jake activated the transmitter. "This is Admiral Jake Morrison of the Human Defense Force. 6 months ago, your Council told us that humanity would never be free. Today, we have proven them wrong. We have broken your barrier. We have captured your station. We have defeated your fleet." He paused, letting his words sink in. "You offered us a cage and called it mercy. We choose freedom instead. Any Council ship that interferes with human operations will be destroyed. Any Council world that threatens human colonies will be conquered. We tried to join your civilization peacefully. You chose war. The message ended. Across the galaxy, Council leaders heard the words that would change everything. The species they had tried to imprison had not only escaped, but had struck back with devastating effectiveness. "Admiral, we are receiving surrender signals from the remaining Council ships," reported Captain Williams. "Accept their surrender," Jake replied, "but keep our weapons trained on them. Trust is earned, not given." The breakthrough was complete. The Council's barrier was destroyed. Their control station was captured. Their fleet was defeated. But Jake Morrison knew this was only the beginning. "All ships, prepare for the next phase," he announced. "We are no longer fighting for survival. We are fighting for dominance." The Council had made a fatal mistake. They had tried to cage humanity, when they should have tried to understand them. Now they would learn why humans had never been successfully conquered by anyone. 2 weeks after the barrier fell, General Alex Turner stood on the bridge of the UEC Conquistador, watching as human ships approached the Arcturus system. Arcturus was the Council's primary military shipyard, the place where they built their most advanced warships. Today, it would fall to human forces. "Sir, we are receiving a transmission from the Arcturus Defense Command," reported Lieutenant Brian Cole, the communications officer. "Put it through," Alex ordered. The holographic display showed Admiral Zeke Var, a tall alien with 4 arms and silver skin. "Human vessels, you are entering restricted Council space. Turn back immediately or face the consequences." Alex smiled coldly. "Admiral Zekvar, this is General Alex Turner of the Human Liberation Fleet. You have 2 options. Surrender your facilities peacefully, or we will take them by force." "You cannot seriously believe you can defeat the Arcturus Defense Fleet," Zekvar replied. "We have 300 ships and the most advanced weapons in the galaxy." "We have something better," Alex said. "We have nothing left to lose." The transmission ended. Alex turned to his tactical officer. "Captain Sarah Williams, deploy the quantum disruptors." Sarah nodded and activated the new weapon system that Dr. Kevin Stone had developed. The quantum disruptors were based on alien technology, but improved with human engineering. They could disable enemy ships without destroying them, making conquest much easier than annihilation. "Disruptors activated," Sarah reported, targeting the lead Council ships. The invisible energy beams struck the Council fleet. One by one, their ships stopped moving as their power systems failed. The Council had designed their shields to stop traditional weapons, but the quantum disruptors attacked the fundamental forces that held their technology together. "Impossible," Admiral Zekvar broadcast. "Our ships are completely disabled. Surrender now, and your crews will be treated well," Alex responded. "Continue to resist, and we will board your ships and take them by force." The Council fleet had no choice. Their weapons were useless, their engines were dead, and their shields were failing. One by one, they transmitted surrender signals. "All Council ships have surrendered," Sarah reported. "The Arcturus shipyard is defenseless." Alex opened a channel to the entire system. "This is General Alex Turner of the Human Liberation Fleet. The Arcturus system is now under human control. All Council personnel will be relocated to designated areas. All military facilities will be turned over to human forces. Resistance is futile." On Earth, President Amanda Walsh watched the conquest of Arcturus from her command center. The victory was more significant than just capturing a shipyard. It was proof that humanity could defeat the Council's best defenses. "Admiral Roberts, what is the status of our other operations?" Amanda asked. Admiral Claire Roberts consulted her reports. "Operation Starfall has captured the Vega system. Captain Tony Mitchell reports that the Council mining facilities are now under our control. Operation Thunderbolt has secured the Sirius system. Commander Jake Morrison says that the Council's communication hub is functioning normally under human supervision. And the diplomatic front? Amanda asked Ambassador Lisa. Carter, who had once tried to negotiate with the Council, now managed humanity's expanding alliance. The Keth Union has formally declared neutrality, but they are providing us with intelligence about Council fleet movements. The Synthetic Collective has begun sabotaging Council military installations on their worlds. 12 minor species have already requested to join our alliance. Amanda nodded with satisfaction. What about the Council's response? They are trying to organize a counterattack, Lisa replied. But they are having problems. Many of their member species are questioning whether the Council can protect them. Some are considering switching sides. The quantum warfare technology had changed everything. Human ships could disable entire fleets without firing a single traditional weapon. The psychological impact was devastating. If the Council's most advanced defenses were useless, what hope did their member species have? Jake Morrison led the Siege of the Proxima Centauri system, home to the Council's Strategic Command. The facility was built inside a hollowed-out asteroid, designed to be impregnable. But human engineers had learned to think like aliens while keeping their human creativity. Status report, Jake requested from his command ship. The asteroid fortress is heavily shielded, reported Dr. Kevin Stone, who had joined the assault to personally oversee the new weapons. But I have identified a weakness in their design. They built their shields to protect against energy weapons, but they neglected to consider gravitational attacks. Gravitational attacks? Jake asked. We can use modified tractor beams to create artificial gravity wells, Kevin explained. If we position them correctly, we can crack the asteroid like an egg. Jake smiled. Do it. The human ships surrounded the asteroid fortress and activated their gravitational weapons. The asteroid began to shake as artificial gravity fields pulled it in different directions. The Council defenders watched in horror as their impregnable fortress began to crack apart. This is Council Strategic Command, came a desperate transmission. We surrender. Stop the gravitational bombardment. Lower your shields and prepare to be boarded, Jake replied. Resistance will be met with continued bombardment. The fortress surrendered. Human forces captured the facility and its valuable strategic databases. The information contained the locations of every Council base, the strength of every Council fleet, and the defense plans for every Council world. On the Council homeworld of Nexus Prime, emergency sessions were held as reports of human victories poured in. The same chamber where humanity had been condemned 6 months ago now hosted desperate debates about how to stop the human advance. The humans are using our own technology against us, reported Defense Minister Cole Thane. They have reverse-engineered our weapons and improved them. Our shields are useless against their quantum disruptors. Our ships are helpless against their gravitational weapons. Council Speaker Zix-9, the same being who had pronounced humanity's sentence, now faced the possibility of his own civilization's defeat. How many systems have they conquered? 17 in the past month, Cole Thane replied. They are advancing faster than we can organize defenses. Many of our member species are refusing to fight. Some are actively helping the humans. What about the Stellar Purge Protocol? Asked another Council member. Can we use it to stop them? Zix-9 considered the option. The Stellar Purge Protocol was the Council's ultimate weapon, designed to destroy entire star systems. It had never been used, but it existed as a final option against existential threats. Target the human colony of New Geneva, Zix-9 decided. If we destroy one of their major worlds, they will understand that continued resistance is futile. The Council's most powerful weapon was activated. A massive beam of energy struck the New Geneva system, designed to ignite the star and destroy every planet in the system. But the weapon never reached its target. Commander Lisa Carter commanded the Aegis Shield Network, humanity's new defensive system. The shields were based on Council technology, but enhanced with human improvements. They could absorb and redirect energy attacks, even ones as powerful as the stellar purge beam. Purge beam detected, Lisa reported, activating Aegis Shield. The massive energy beam struck the shield network and was absorbed. The energy was then redirected toward an uninhabited system, where it harmlessly ignited a dead star. The Council's ultimate weapon had been turned into a harmless light show. The purge beam has been neutralized, Lisa reported. The new Geneva system is safe. The news of the failed purge attack spread throughout the galaxy. If the Council could not destroy human worlds with their most powerful weapon, what hope did they have of winning the war? Species after species abandoned the Council. Some joined humanity's alliance. Others declared independence. The Council's authority, built over thousands of years, crumbled in a matter of months. Admiral Claire Roberts led the final assault on the Council's remaining strongholds. The once mighty alliance was reduced to 6 core worlds, surrounded by human fleets and abandoned by their former allies. This is Admiral Claire Roberts of the Human Liberation Fleet. She broadcast to the remaining Council worlds. Your alliance is finished. Your fleets are destroyed. Your allies have abandoned you. Surrender now, and you will be treated with mercy. Continue to resist and face the consequences. The response came from Zix-9 himself. We will never surrender. To a species we deemed unworthy of civilization. Then you will learn why we were deemed too dangerous to join it. Claire replied. The final battle for the Council's homeworld began. But it was less a battle than an execution. The Council's remaining forces were overwhelmed by human ships using technology they could not understand or counter. General Alex Turner led the ground forces that captured the Council chambers. He stood in the same room where humanity had been, condemned and declared, by the authority of the Human Liberation Fleet, the Galactic Council is hereby dissolved. All Council territories are now under human administration. The conquest was complete. The species that had tried to cage humanity now found themselves caged by the very beings they had underestimated. The galaxy would never be the same. Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the great chamber of Nexus Prime, but now everything was different. The curved walls that had once held 47 alien species now displayed the flags of 83 worlds that had sworn allegiance to the human Federation. The cold crystal throne where Council Speaker Zix-9 had condemned humanity was now occupied by President Amanda Walsh herself. Representatives of the galaxy, Amanda began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's advanced acoustics. We gather today not as conquerors and conquered, but as partners in a new future. The old Council ruled through fear and rigid tradition. The Human Federation offers something different, opportunity. The assembled delegates listened carefully. Some were former Council species who had surrendered. Others were minor races that had been ignored by the Council for centuries. All of them were now part of humanity's growing empire. Dr. Kevin Stone stepped forward to address the assembly. The old Council hoarded technology and knowledge. They believed that keeping others weak made them strong. We believe the opposite. When we share our advances, everyone benefits. Kevin activated a holographic display showing the new terraforming technology that human scientists had developed. This system can transform dead worlds into paradise in just 5 years. Any species that joins our Federation will have access to this technology. We are not here to exploit you. We are here to help you grow. The response was immediate and positive. The Keth Union representative, a tall warrior named Drakmor, stood to speak. The Keth have fought beside humans in battle. We have seen their courage and honor. We pledge our warriors to the Federation's cause. The Synthetic Collective's representative, a beautiful android named Unit 47 added her voice. For centuries, the Council denied us the rights of living beings. The Federation recognizes our consciousness and our freedom. We pledge our technological knowledge to the common good. Jake Morrison watched the proceedings with satisfaction. The integration was proceeding better than anyone had hoped. The key was offering partnership instead of dominance. The Council had ruled through fear, but humans ruled through respect. Captain Tony Mitchell approached Jake with a report. Admiral, our expansion fleets have established colonies in 43 new systems this month. The growth rate is exceeding all projections. Any resistance? Jake asked. Minimal, Tony replied. Most species are requesting to join us rather than opposing us. The ethereal collective is still holding out in their core systems, but they are completely isolated. They cannot threaten our expansion. Jake nodded. The ethereal collective, led by beings like the former Council Speaker Zix-9, refused to acknowledge the new reality. They had retreated to their heavily defended homeworlds and closed their borders to all outside contact. Let them isolate themselves. Jake decided. Time will teach them what the Council learned too late. You cannot stop progress by hiding from it. President Amanda Walsh concluded the assembly with an announcement that would reshape the galaxy. The Human Federation is not just about expanding territory. It is about expanding possibilities. Today, I announce the creation of the Galactic Development Initiative. Every member species will receive the resources and technology needed to develop their worlds to their full potential. The announcement was met with enthusiastic approval. Species that had been stagnant under Council rule suddenly saw new possibilities for growth and advancement. Ambassador Lisa Carter managed the diplomatic aspects of the expansion. Her office had become the center of negotiations with dozens of species seeking to join the Federation. We are receiving applications faster than we can process them, she reported to Amanda. The hegemony of Tar wants to join. The Free Traders Alliance is requesting membership. Even some former Council loyalists are asking to switch sides. What about the Andromeda signals? Amanda asked. Lisa's expression grew excited. Hour deep. Space monitors have detected organized transmissions from the Andromeda galaxy. The signals show signs of advanced technology and complex civilization. We may have found neighbors. Amanda smiled. Interesting. Prepare a response. Let them know that the Human Federation is interested in peaceful contact. Meanwhile, Captain, Sarah Williams led the expansion fleet to the edge of known space. Her mission was to establish humanity's presence in unexplored regions and search for new worlds to colonize. The fleet consisted of ships from a dozen different species, all working together under human leadership. Captain, we have detected an unusual energy signature in the Omega sector, reported her science officer, Lieutenant Dan Rogers. It appears to be artificial, but it is unlike anything in our databases. Sarah studied the readings. Could it be another species? Possible. Dan replied. The energy pattern is consistent with advanced technology, but it is completely different from anything we have encountered before. Plot a course for the Omega sector, Sarah ordered. If there are new species out there, the Federation needs to know about them. Back on Earth, Dr. Kevin Stone worked in his laboratory on the next generation of human technology. The combination of human creativity and alien knowledge had produced advances that neither species could have achieved alone. Kevin, how are the new projects proceeding? Asked Dr. Helen Murphy, who had become his chief assistant. Better than expected, Kevin replied. The quantum drive system is ready for testing. It will allow our ships to travel between galaxies in weeks instead of centuries. The consciousness transfer technology is nearly complete. We will soon be able to back up and restore human minds, making death itself optional. Helen looked concerned. Are we advancing too quickly? Some of our allies are having trouble adapting to changes. That is why we share our knowledge gradually, Kevin explained. We give each species time to adapt to new technology before introducing the next advancement. The goal is progress, not chaos. The success of the Human Federation was attracting attention from unexpected sources. General Alex Turner received a message from the Vanguard, a mysterious group that claimed to represent species from outside the galaxy. General Turner, the message began, we have been observing your expansion with interest. The Human Federation shows promise as a civilizing force. We would like to arrange a meeting to discuss mutual cooperation. Alex forwarded the message to Jake Morrison. What do you think, Admiral? Jake studied the message carefully. It could be a trap, but it could also be an opportunity. Arrange the meeting, but take precautions. If there are other powers out there, we need to know about them. The meeting was arranged for a neutral system on the edge of Federation space. Jake Morrison led a small fleet to the rendezvous point, where they encountered ships unlike anything they had seen before. The Vanguard representative was a being of pure energy, who called himself the Architect. Humans, he said, you have accomplished something remarkable. You have united dozens of species under a single banner without destroying their individual identities. This is the mark of a truly advanced civilization. What do you want from you? Jake asked directly. Partnership, the Architect replied. The universe is vast and filled with dangers. Young civilizations like yours need guidance to avoid the mistakes that have destroyed countless others. We offer our knowledge and protection in exchange for your cooperation. Jake considered the offer. What kind of cooperation? Help us maintain order in the galaxy, the Architect explained. There are forces in the universe that seek to destroy all organized civilization. Together, we can protect the progress that species like yours have achieved. The negotiations continued for days, but ultimately led to a new alliance. The Human Federation would have access to advanced technology and protection from cosmic threats. In return, they would help maintain stability in their region of the galaxy. As Jake Morrison returned to Earth, he reflected on how much had changed. 6 months ago, humanity had been facing extinction. Now they were the leaders of a galactic civilization and partners with beings from beyond the stars. President Amanda Walsh stood in her office, looking out at the bustling spaceport where ships from dozens of worlds came and went. The sight filled her with pride and hope for the future. Madam President, her aide announced, we have received the first response from the Andromeda Galaxy. They are interested in establishing formal diplomatic relations. Amanda smiled. Schedule a meeting with the Admiralty. It seems our neighborhood is getting larger. The story of humanity's transformation from galactic outcasts to galactic leaders was complete, but it was also just the beginning. The Council had tried to cage humanity's ambitions, but they had only delayed the inevitable. A species that responded to impossible with "watch me" was always destined to reach for the stars. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson. Never underestimate the power of human determination. The Council had offered humanity a cage and called it mercy. Humanity had responded by building an empire and calling it justice. The future stretched out before them, full of possibilities and challenges. But whatever came next, humanity would face it as they had faced everything else. Together, determined, and utterly unwilling to accept limits on their potential. The new order was established. The Human Federation ruled the galaxy not through fear, but through hope. And in the vast expanse of space, new adventures waited for the species that had refused to surrender.